All right, welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna do a rebuild on an LO206 head. We're gonna replace springs and valves and do a valve job on these. So first, we're gonna remove rocker arms. Once you get the head off, the rocker arms will be loose, so just take them off by hand. Then we need to remove the spring locks, the retainer locks. Grab a socket that's about the outside diameter of the retainer. Hold your hand on the other side of the valve so that it'll allow the lock to separate. Got one of them. Sometimes they're a little bit fun if you don't have a spring compressor like we don't. They like to stick because of all the oil. There we go. Make sure you don't lose those, those are small. Set those aside. Pull the exhaust out. The intake side seems to be sticking a little bit more. There's one. The second one sometimes just comes out better if you just use your hands. There it goes. Spring and the retainer off, and pull the valve out. Now if you inspect these, you can usually see if they're out around that you got some dark spots through here where the exhaust is getting past it while it's sealed and seated. And these tend to do this after first few heat cycles, they move, and then after that they usually stay put. So we like to do a valve job after 2 races or so, straighten it all out, get them resealed, put new valves in it, make everything right again. One thing to note on the LO206 rules, depending on what you are doing, if you're karting or you're quarter midget or something like that, they're very specific about cleaning the gasket surface. I don't use anything other than a light scrape on with a razor blade and then some brake clean, because they must appear factory. So if you start sanding on them and flatten them and they don't appear like they're factory, you will get disqualified. All right, now we're gonna little brake clean on a rag. Just clean the combustion chamber up a little bit. Prep for the cutter. And we like to apply a little Dicam, or if you don't have any of this, you can use black permanent marker, just something to mark it so that you know when you do cut the valve seat that you've got it all cut. I like to do this first while I'm prepping my tools so that it has time to dry. So we're going to use a seat cutter made by Neway. We got from EasyBore for the LO206. It comes with a 45-degree cutter and the 30-degree cutter. One thing to note when we do these, that we'll start with our 45 and end with our 30, But the 30, you do not want to barely just touch it because it must appear factory. You can't put too much of a second angle on it. So they come with a bore rod that sits down into your guide. You want to get that seated down in there. There's no movement. Then your first cutter, make sure that the die kim's dried out all the way. First cutter on there, set it down gently. And then use the provided handle and just really lightly spin it nice and smooth. And you can see it's not evenly cutting at this point because it is out of round. So you want to continue until you get all the die cam off that 45-degree area. Not too much pressure. Don't want to go too far. As you can see, we're cutting a little bit more on the left-hand side than the right-hand side here. It is out of round, so it's got to catch up and get the 45-degree cut along the right. Just a little bit more. Almost there. All right, that looks good. Now we'll switch over to the 30, and the 30 we just want to put a little bit of a bevel on it, that's it. Just go around once or twice. And that's complete on the exhaust side. Push the guide back out, press it into the intake side, and repeat the process. Make sure you're starting out with your 45. This one was a bit out of round also. That one's all good and cleaned up now. Is a lot less out of round than the other one, to be expected since it is the intake side, not the exhaust side. It doesn't see as much heat. Let's put our bevel in this one. That's it. Now press take out or the guide, and we are going to grab a new exhaust valve and a new intake valve. Make sure to put all these part numbers down in the description for you. Make sure everything looks good all around. And we're going to put new springs on this. Spring, container, and the fun part of putting the locks back in. try to just gently put these in here. Let them fall into place as you push it down. There's one. There's two. And I like to take a socket, give it a little tap to get those to seat in there good. Now onto a new intake valve. Everything looks sealed and good. Never seen the need to lap the valves on a 206, so we don't do that. Cutter seems to do a really good job in creating a good surface. New spring, old retainer, and then your locks. Get them lined up. Push the valve back up. Set the retainers. Now press down till they fall into their groove. Much easier than the last one. Socket, quick. Set those locks. Now you're ready to reinstall your rocker arms. Just put them on lightly now. Once you put this back on the head, bring it back up to top dead center and we'll set your lash. And that's it. So don't forget, gasket surface must appear factory, both on the head and on the motor. And you'll see the motor has got some cross hatching on it and you must keep all that. So just clean it off with some brake clean, take a razor blade, and I just give it a nice light scrape to remove any of the gasket surface that I can on both sides, but try not to remove any of the factory finish. There you have it. Complete rebuilt 206 head. Actually pretty simple to do yourself if you have the right tools. So once again, we'll put the links down below for the parts and the tools that we used in this video. See you guys next time.